Hi, thanks for giving me the opportunity to demonstrate a microclass for you. We are 6 feet apart, the windows are open, and we're doing an in-person class for you to observe on imagination and observation. Enjoy. Cool. So the only thing I asked you to do coming in is if you would observe a person in life, hopefully somebody that isn't like your best friend, but if that's what it was, we'll work with that. And then we're going to use that as sort of the springboard for our imagination. Just this person that you were just observing, didn't talk to, didn't have a conversation, just watched and noticed things about them. And the way I'd like to start, by the way, this is Sienna and Jade. How bad of me. And I'm Mace, which you know. Sienna, if you could sit for a second, and Jade, if we could send you over there, and what I'd like to challenge you to do is walk through the space from here to here as that person you observed, incorporating any unique elements or things that you observed, just watching them. How do they move through space? Fantastic. Relax. Cool. Thank you. And Sienna, we'd ask you to do the same. We'll switch around. If you can move through space, incorporating anything unique or anything elemental that you saw. Awesome. Would you pass through the space back again, because yours is much faster. Cool. And just one more time. Then we'll have the equal amount of time to see it. Cool. Thank you. So if we go back to your regular spaces again. First for you, Jade, and the person you observed, what were the unique elements? So when you looked at it and said, that's unique to that person, that's special to that person.
Well, the person I observed is an elderly person, so I took note of the way they kind of walked a little hunched and very slow, small steps, and they like to wave at people as they walk by.
And they wave with like a crunched hand, like the fingers move, I noticed. That was unique to that wave. There's no wrist in it.
Gotta keep it simple.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm glad to hear it wasn't a Portland Trailblazer, because that would be super unfortunate. Sienna, what unique elements did you notice when you were thinking about what you saw?
He stands completely upright, and his arms are like back, and then it's all leg. It's only leg. There's nothing. The rest of his body is not really involved, except for like a little bit of that.
Leads with what you did. Leads with
yeah,
the
like hips,
like it's
hips
all
forward.
with the legs, and like almost laid back.
Yeah.
It's like a lazy boy recliner walking.
Yeah, it's like walking towards you.
Awesome. So I think that's one of the most important things when we think about observation is we start generally. Like there's all these people cruising through. We don't necessarily notice the uniqueness to each of the people because we're just sort of inundated with information and our brain just kind of filters that. But as artists, especially as actors, that's our material. If we don't just want to play ourselves on stage all the time, we gotta like observe what are these other little things that I could steal from people and take. And it's the details that are important. The great acting coach Stanislavski said, life is general, art is specific. And so some of these details that I saw you do, if you incorporated that into a character you were playing, the detail of that and the nuance suddenly starts to make the character you're playing unique. It's not just this generic old person. It is an old person who, for whatever reason, does not use their wrist. Very interesting. So always remember that. Life is general, art is specific. The most detailed thing you can notice and incorporate into your work, the more special and specific and unique, and the more it resonates with an audience as well. So now I'm going to challenge you, and we are 6 feet apart, and we're going to sort of go against violation. You've been vaccinated.
Yes.
You've not been vaccinated, right? Nor have I, so we're just going, But we've got the wind going through, because we'll need you to just unmask for the exercise really quickly. Because what we want you to do now is, if you could, and this wasn't something I asked you to do, but from your memory, if you could take the mask just away from your mouth and say a single sentence and speak in the way that this person speaks. Now I want to tell you too, we're not doing an impersonation. We're actors, we're not impersonators. Although if you are a good impersonator, that can be handy. But what we do is we interpret. So once again, you're just thinking about how that person speaks, the rate that they speak, the pitch, is there anything special you noticed in that? And again, just say one sentence that you can imagine would come out of the mouth of this person, okay? So Jade, would you?
Sure. So should I filter the
Sure, yeah, you go Jade.
Oh, you're really going places, sweetie.
Thank you. And Sienna, would you do the same?
Gonna go play some basketball. I'm going to Winco. You need anything?
Very different. I kind of want those two to have a conversation. That would be a different lesson. So, very funny. Again, just a quick prompt. What was unique about when you thought about the voice?
The way she speaks is very slow, a little bit gravelly, and she always just says really very kind things.
Awesome. So what's interesting about that is there's a quality choice you're making because it's also in the throat too. This is not a well-supported voice. It's thinner, less air there. But you're also making a character choice because there's the technical thing about how it sounds, but then who is she? Well, she only says kind things. So profanity not going to roll out of that character's mouth. You know, she's going to say nice stuff. So you've done technical work and character work in that choice. And unique about your character?
He doesn't separate his sentences really, or his words all that much. And he's just out and about like doing things, but I don't know. He's also I also know him personally, and so that's like a thing he says a lot. Is just like,
Right.
Can I get you anything?
Right.
In his way.
Is there a monotone quality to the way he speaks? I mean, just sort of straight and constant, or is there a lot of expression in it?
Normally, when it's just like that was like sort of like I'm on my way out the door, I'm doing something, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna spew this out of my mouth at you.
Yeah, totally.
And then,
That's the thing I noticed about it, is you just sort of had a directness and a monotone. It's probably talking about two notes there.
Yeah.
That's about it, you know.
Place to be.
Yeah,
I mean,
not really trying to impress you, just getting after it. You know? So yeah, totally different, unique characters. One last thing we'll do before we transition to the next part of the lesson. So that's really the observation stuff. It's segueing us into imagination next. But Jay, will you walk through that space again? And if you go ahead and take your mask off, and if you'll say your line that you did as you move through space, so we'll put the voice with the body.
Okay.
Great.
Oh, you're really going places, sweetie.
Awesome, thanks. See, on the same task, you might have to do a U-turn to continue to say all that because he gets your space very quickly.
Okay. Alright, I'm gonna go play some basketball. Going to Winco. Do you need anything?
Good. Awesome, thanks. Also seems like a character that doesn't really care if I need anything. But I don't know. Maybe they do. Cool, so observation is vital in terms of building characters, again, as I said, so we don't just get on stage and just make the character us. Because that's what we'll do if we don't make any specific choices. And our choices, if they're not based in observation, if they're not based in something grounded in reality, can sort of spin off and not feel real to the audience. It's one of the tricky parts of using our imagination. And I would ask you, just prompting, and you didn't know I was going to ask you this either, but how would you describe imagination? Like if you had to tell some kid, some 12-year-old, what imagination is, it's like defining love, I expect.
I was gonna say, like, that's like defining consciousness. So, like,
Kind of is.
yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of like, to me, I think of imagination of just like taking bits and pieces of things that you see around you and then just making them into something more based off of just whatever. So like seeing, I don't know, my shirt and thinking, okay, well, what kind of person wears this kind of shirt? And then making a story off of some like fancy rich lady who wears peplum all the time. I don't know.
Anything, thoughts for you, Sienna?
Yeah, I'd say just like extrapolating off of the info that you have, and then just like what information do I not have, and what would make sense there that I can throw in.
Right. I love what you're both thinking, because I think one of the places that people get stuck with imagination is they'll think that, especially those who are not in the arts, and they think what we do is a magic trick, and they think that imagination is like this foreign thing. It's like there's this empty void of space, and what you do is you place this thing that nobody's ever thought of into this void, and it just comes like fully realized into the world. But you guys are right on it, in my opinion. What imagination is taking details that inspire you, that are seeds, that you can grow into something that someone hasn't thought of before. But it doesn't come out of the void. It comes out of something detailed that inspires you. It's the seed. We're always trying to seed our imaginations. Same way that like instructors will give you a prompt. Because if they just say, hey, tomorrow there's a paper due, write it. It's like, okay. You need the prompt. You need the thing that sort of gets you thinking down that road. So what we've done is we've done the observation work with the character. And then I'm going to paraphrase what Stanislavski said. He said, life is general, and I would say imagination is in fact specific. I need a detail. I need some details to really trigger my imagination to grow something bigger. So we're going to ask some questions. I'll involve you in this too, Sienna, so that you can let your mind wander. But we're going to ask some questions about the character that we just saw. We would like you to use your imagination to sort of fill this out, because these are things I'm hoping you don't know about this person. But it's your imagination from the details that you have taken, the kindness that you perceive in the person, the way she waves even, that you can answer these in very specific ways that make sense. Now again, it doesn't matter if it's accurate. Like if you went and asked the lady these questions and you were so far off, it doesn't matter, because we're interpreting this human being and we're creating something that is beyond this human being. We're not doing an impersonation of her. We're using her as inspiration for our imagination. So I wonder, and if you would, if you could approximate the body, and if you could speak in the voice to answer our questions.
Absolutely.
Are you retired?
I am. 25 years yesterday.
What did you do?
I was a school teacher.
What grade?
I hopped around a bit, but I settled on middle school.
Middle school. Excellent.
They
Did you,
need kindness the most.
did you have children yourself?
I did 5,
Oh,
3 little boys and 3 little girls.
are you a grandmother?
Yes.
How many times over?
5 or 6. It's hard to keep track at this point.
Sienna, do you have any questions you might have?
Yeah, I was wondering how you usually spend Sunday afternoons.
Wow. I usually sit all day. Watch some TV maybe. I like to nap.
What's your favorite television program to watch?
Well, currently, we like to watch Hallmark at the home, and I watch a lot of Golden Girls. Those reruns get you every time.
They sure do. They sure do. What is your name, by the way?
Violet.
Violet. Awesome. Thank you. And relax. Cool. Awesome. Sienna, let's take you down the same road here, and we'll try and ask you questions. Since you know your person a little better, maybe we'll ask you some questions that are maybe more foreign, that might not have come up in conversation.
Okay, alright.
So, what is your name?
Tony.
Tommy?
Tony.
Tony. Tony. Is Italian?
No.
What ethnicity are you?
I'm native, but
Oh, you are?
yeah.
What tribe? Is that accurate? Is it
Yeah, it's tribe. Apache.
Apache. Excellent. Excellent. Did you have you grown up outside of the tribe itself? Did you grow up in the tribe?
The only person I knew who was in the tribe was my grandma.
Uh-huh.
She took the language with her when she died.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That's a shame that again, those native languages are,
Endangered.
They are.
Totally.
they are, absolutely. What is your favorite food?
I really like those Swanson pot pies that are like 2,000 calories and just like covered with butter and just I just make a whole one of those and
Right.
eat it myself.
I have a feeling you're not into organic food,
That sounds great, but I just don't care, you know.
right? Right. Jay, do you have any questions maybe for this person?
When you go to like a Walmart or like your typical grocery store, what are your go-to necessity items?
Well, I gotta get my protein, so I get whey. I always get those pre-separated egg whites, so that I get my protein without the cholesterol. And pot pies.
A lot of pot pies, a lot of protein, Were you an athlete of any kind? Or?
Basketball.
Oh, you were a basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fantastic.
That's why my knee's going.
Have you had surgery?
Not yet.
Yeah, I'd say eventually. Every basketball player eventually has to have surgery. Where's the most exotic place you have visited?
I went to Arizona one time.
Whereabouts?
Little town there. Got grandparents live there.
The Apache grandparents?
No, the other ones.
Oh, got you. Excellent. And brothers and sisters?
I've got 2 sisters and a brother.
Where do you fall in line?
I'm the oldest.
Got you. Awesome. And relax. Thank you, she says. Thank you.
He's so much.
Awesome. It is, and it comes fast, right? And our goal, ultimately, with our imagination, and there's a bit of improvisation involved in this lesson as well, but we're hoping that, again, as we start to understand that character better and we sort of live in that body, there's a logic that evolves.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, I get that question, I don't know the answer, but probably this.
Yeah.
And
I actually felt some discomfort because like this sort of the movement effect that I like adopted to be this person that I happen to also know perfectly didn't match with the whole like the sort of reverence that he has for his he's not Apache. I just had to pick one. Like he has like all this reverence for like his culture and like his ancestors, and I was like, wait, like this character that I created, I don't know where to put that reverence in him. So I felt
Right.
like, yeah.
That's so interesting because one of the things that I think about this kind of work as well is it's better to go to the mall
Mm-hmm.
and track the stranger
Yeah.
because you're not trapped in this like I don't want to feel like I'm making fun of this person that I care about
Yeah.
and respect. And hopefully what happens, even if you do use someone who's close to you as kind of a springboard, as you take one step further, like he's Apache, oh, it's not him anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, his grandmother died and the language is going with her. Oh, it's not him anymore. I don't know. I made that up. And every step you take becomes like, no, it's not him anymore. It's this creation. He's
Yeah.
helped me sort of imagine
Mm-hmm.
this person that I wouldn't have thought of. Like I wouldn't have thought of even going down a native path. I
Yeah.
wouldn't even have dawned on me except my friend is native.
Yeah.
And so I start to construct this human being. So that is the thing that we don't want to get trapped as artists in terms of like, oh, I don't know if I can say that. I feel that.
Yeah.
We have to figure out how do we get it abstracted so we can just be free with our imagination.
Yeah.
Because that's the killer for imagination too, right? Like we're trying to like create something and then
But it has to fit in these
we're limiting ourselves. We're like judging our imagination. And man, an imagination that is judged stops working. It just puts the brakes on, it won't give you anything. So you gotta find that way to free yourself up. So in this exercise in the future, should you use it, I totally advise do the stranger thing.
Where do you find strangers these days?
I know, right? That's the worst of it. So that's the whole of the exercise. Again, I would imagination always starts with observation, finding the seed, finding the thing that intrigues you that you can grow into directions that are not based in the reality you live, but become your own creation based on the observations that you conceive. And then the things that you imagine and you make up have to be as detailed as the things that came from real life for them to resonate with the audience. Cool. Thank you both for taking the time to do this with us, and thank you for being part of the MicroTeach.